Okay, so we're live. It's 1:55 a.m. on Saturday morning, 5/27, 2023. This morning we're going to go over a few things that I found about the Maura case. We're going to go over Lineida, Olivera. She's victim number three. We're going to go over this week, and got a couple of things I want to go over from 1966, and then if we have time, we'll do a weekly recap of um, this week's headlines. So let's do this. I just have trouble finding this. But I got it. So we'll be right back. All right, so that's the end of that. So what we're going to do here, I do want to pull this up first. Um, for those who've been watching or haven't been watching for the past few weeks, um, doing a deep dive on a couple of cases here in New England that happened years and years ago. And I came across the Maura case. Um, so I've been doing that too. So I'm going to bring this up here. This is basically the road here. Um, uh, that she was traveling. So this is the east lane. This is the west lane. So this is the east lane, west lane. And if I go back here, um, so obviously this is a pretty good corner here. They all are up here. These roads are built years and years and years ago. But basically what I'm trying to figure out, and I do have the accident report now. So what I'm trying to figure out is obviously, like I said, this is probably July in here, but this accident happened in February, and obviously there would have been much more snow here. And the time of this accident, early evening, um, there might have been a little bit of snow melt. They call that refreeze. on the road. So, um, but I'm having a hard time believing how she was going into the eastbound. She was heading east here. She probably drove up like this, maybe got into the snowbank here a little bit, hit the tree this way. I guess it's possible. But according to the accident report, the car was in the eastbound lane facing west. So she must have gone up. Picture this, a snowbank here. Up into the snowbank, her wheels get in the snowbank, hits the car on the driver's side, um, and then the force of hitting the tree here, maybe she hits more on the side than she hits impact straight on, and then the force of that kind of puts her back down here, facing west. So that is possible. Um, so let's go back here and get rid of this. And let's pull this up here. Whoops, I don't want to do that. So I'll give props to this here. Okay, so let's get rid of that. All right, so here we have so this is the actual gist of accident here. I'm assuming this is the actual accident report. This is where the damage was on the front. And these are all the numbers indicate probable point of impact. So this is the front driver's side here. There's the two doors. This is the back. So most of the damage was here. So this is Wild Amanusic Road, and it's pretty cornery here. So she's traveling like here, like this, and maybe she got into some ice here, and she headed, this way here. Got into that snowbank, and the snowbank kind of pushed her into the tree, causing the damage here. I mean, that is possible. So, but anyways, it indicates at 1930, which is about 7:30, I think, 2904. This is the officer here responded to the report of a car into a tree. So it definitely hit the tree. Now, when I arrived, I noted that the above vehicle parked facing west in the eastbound lane. So she was in this lane here. This is the exact position of the car. So that would make sense if it was after the tree. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. The vehicle was locked and there was no one in the area. I spoke to a witness who told me there was a young female being behind the wheel and there were no other people in the vehicle. He spoke with the female who told him not to call the police. So this was the bus driver, apparently. Evidence at the scene indicated the vehicle had been eastbound and had gone off the roadway, struck some trees, spun around, and came to a rest facing the wrong way in the eastbound lane. The driver's side of the windshield was cracked and both front airbags had been deployed. So I'm assuming the speed here is like 35, maybe. That's standard. So even if you're going 40, I haven't received word back from Mount Washington Observatory because I'm trying to get the snowfall total for that week in the area. But so he made a search of the roadway. He was assisted by the fire, EMS personnel, and residents of the area. The driver was not located, and it was later indicated that it was Maura by Lavoie. So Lavoie towed it. There seems to be some issue with the rag found in the tailpipe too, but at this point I'm just trying to figure out which way. So that would make sense. But I am going to go up here and stop sharing this here. I'm going to go up there and check it out for myself, but I got to go up there in the wintertime because it does no good to go up there in the summertime. It's not the same. It's a completely different animal in February. So I'll go back here. So if you're driving, like this here, usually it's pretty much if you have if it's nighttime, you're using your lights. I try to stay close when I'm driving in the winter, kind of like on the other side of the road, and going around a corner to give yourself more road. But if you're in here, obviously there's going to be more snow, and I kind of remember that year there was a lot of snowbank and ice from the snowbank because it was fairly warm during the day, but at night it would refreeze and then all the snow would melt from the snowbanks into the road. So picture this, kind of walkway here line and this walkway here line just where the ice is. So you don't really have a lot of road here to travel on. So it's possible she kind of went like this here, got up into the snowbank kind of here, and the snowbank kind of turned her vehicle where it slid, hit the driver's side, and then back down and came to a rest facing west. So that is possible. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. So there's that. Throw in some music here. So I just wanted to go over that. And I'm assuming that she was probably impaired, so to speak. But what I want to do here is up the road a little bit. But you got to remember it's February 9th, about 7:45. So It's definitely freezing out. So there's the tree, and I'm sure this was snowbank here, and that's probably pretty close to where the snowbank line would have come up. But she gets out of her car. Let's say she gets out of her car here. The car is probably right in here, facing west. So here's, I wish I could put a car in here. Facing this way, the damage would be here. Gets out of the car, and what's she gonna do? She doesn't want to be there when the police come, so and what I tried to do this week is try to figure out where the gas stations were on this route. And also payphones. Because obviously she didn't have cell phone service up in here. So what I'm wondering if she walked and kind of hid out in here for a little while. Because you'll do anything in the cold. Permanently closed. And if there was a payphone here, maybe she tried to use the payphone, because the payphones you could call collect. And she might have just stayed here until a ride came. That's one option. Just permanently closing is an open sign. So let's go back. Using Google Earth also. Weathered barn. You know, I've been stranded in the winter lots of times, and you will do almost anything if it's cold, because so here's a corner here. It's not completely S-curve, but it's close. I think she didn't hit one of these off. So that's that. So I will do some digging into this to see if there were any payphones, because I know there were payphones that were operable back then because I used them. And if you didn't have cell phone service, then that was the only way you could communicate with people. But you could call collect with a payphone. You just have to have somebody on the other side accepting the charges, but you can call anybody. And there was apparently from last week's interview that we watched, there was a phone number that was left on her passenger seat. So that's what happened. She's facing this way. She gets out of there somehow. She takes off, obviously. And according to some of the people that passed by at that time, didn't see anybody on the road. So she could have hung out in here. I doubt she went into the woods. I mean, that would be kind of just not intelligent. And she seemed to be pretty intelligent to me. So, yeah, I'll have to check into that. All right. Sorry, my computer's really slow. So I'll get out of here. So I did pull up gas stations here. Here's 91, so she probably would have got off here. I don't know if these gas stations were there in 2004, but here's the corner here. I don't know if there's any signs up in here. So Loon Mountain is over this way, more to the east. And this is right up and around Lost River too. So there's Attitash right there. She could have been heading anywhere to here, but she may have just gotten off the highway to get gas. Who knows? But you know, this area here is much more populated than where she came from. So she could have been heading. Well, why didn't she take 93? That's weird. I mean, if she's heading to Loon, I would have just gone, you know, east and then hit 93 and up. You know, because she's coming from over in here. So if you're going to go to Loon, you go up this way, or you can even take 95. So that's that. All right. Okay, so I did this to I mean, I've pretty much been here all my life, so I know what the totals of February snowfalls are, but I just wanted to give people a. So this is it's an average per year snowfalls. This is southern New Hampshire here. It makes a big difference where you are. So they call this southern New Hampshire, some up here, but it's kind of middle west or more west. And you'll see the differences here. Concord's about 17. And you go more north, northern New Hampshire, Berlin, which is way up. Mount Washington's going to have a lot. North Conway, that's more east. So these are, you know, pretty solid totals. And then of course you take January, because that snow doesn't melt. That's still on the side of the road too. So you're talking at least 3 foot snowbanks from plowing, especially up there. So I just wanted to run this by everybody. Concord's basically middle south middle. New Hampshire's basically shaped like a milk bottle, so it's. But this winter's too that the northern part of the state doesn't get any snow, and it's all southern. I've seen winters here that Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island get plowed, pummeled, and northern New Hampshire, very little. So it depends. But I kind of remember that year because that's the year I moved up to the Upper Valley, and I was driving up here to see Heather. So it was pretty bad. All right, let's get out of here. I just wanted to share that too, but I contacted the observatory in Mount Washington to see if I can get an accurate weather total. All right, so I will take a break, and then we'll go into the Lineida Olivera case in Marlborough, which is part of the Maine South Woodsman serial killer theory. So I'll be right back and we'll do that. All right, let's shift some gears here. What I want to do is what? Okay, there we go. Give me a second, I gotta fix this here. Whoops. I gotta transfer this file because it's not letting me share this, so. Let's see if that worked. Okay, so I did it. So you can see here, these are the 5 victims. We did Betsy Adam Montalvo last week, I think, and then Wendy A. Morello the week before that. So this week we're going to do victim number 5, Lineida Olivera. And up in here, if you can see, I added in the top left corner, I added Mindy West, 1998, found Manchester, New Hampshire. Rosalie Miller, 1997, found in Auburn, New Hampshire. So a little bit before these, but this is where they were found. So these arrows these lines, tell you where they were found. So right off 93. Not saying they're connected, but law enforcement did go down to Worcester, Massachusetts from New Hampshire and talk to Worcester, Massachusetts police about these cases and these cases, and I don't know what happened with that. But it's interesting that all of these cases, same MOs too. Mindy West was found tied to a tree with ligature strangulation, and Rosalie Miller was found ligature strangulation too. These two are not far apart as far as location. So both kind of on drugs, same victimologies here. Mindy West was an SW2, Rosalie Miller, same thing. I went over that. I went over these two cases early on, so check those videos to see. But I just wanted to pull this up because we're going to be going over that. So, and there's not a lot of information on these cases because there just isn't when it comes to these types of victims. They don't. It's unfortunate that they don't really put up a lot of attention into these cases because of the lifestyle people lead. But, these people matter too. So, to me, for sure. So that's why I'm going over this. I apologize because my computer's really slow. So let me read this here for you. So this was published back in June of 2007. This is the latest one. So this one here precedes the others by about 3 years. So Marilyn Olivera of Marlborough last saw her sister in late January after Lineida Olivera, 31, gave birth to twins. So Marilyn Olivera said she visited her sister and babies in the hospital and at their home in Worcester. So that's why they're calling this guy the Worcester, the main woodsman person, because all of those cases I just showed you are pretty much connected to this city here, the main South Woodsman. That's the vicinity of where all of these people disappeared from. So she says Worcester police have linked her sister's disappearance to 3 unsolved murders from Middlesex District Attorney Martha Coakley has termed serial killings. And you'll remember her name from the Au Pair case years ago. Usually her sister called once or twice a week, but she hasn't heard from her since the visit. So this was before they found her 5 months ago. Since then, Lineida Olivera's family members have posted flyers around Worcester, Framingham, and surrounding communities. So let me pull up a map here again of Worcester's a fairly good sized city. We used to go down there and see concerts all the time. So we used to call it the BC Entrum. I think I saw Rush there, Rush and Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher was just incredible. Okay, so let's. So I'm sorry I have to do this, but I have to keep going in and out of streams to do things, but it's the only way. Okay, so this is, see if I can go one more. Yeah. Okay, so this is Worcester here, fairly good city. But there's Auburn right there. That's where one of the victims was found, or from. Let's see here. There's Marlboro right there. So this vicinity, but they all were from here. This is just where they were found. And Rutland right there. So yeah, there's Auburn. And if you use a little bit of imagination here, the two that I'm looking into are right here. So all I gotta do is go up here, 93, and there you are. And then one of the victims was found all the way up in Maine. They're in York. So the reason why I'm looking into this is because if put two and two together, maybe the Maura Murray case, she goes back down to Massachusetts and she gets caught up in this whole thing. Maybe, just something to think about. So there's that. All right, so let's go back here. So we're back to this. Okay, so Marilyn Olivera said Worcester police have connected her sister's disappearance with 3 unsolved killings since the family reported her missing May 4th. The remains of Carmen Rudy, Betseda Montalvo were found in Marlboro. So those two were found in Marlboro. Daniela Torres' body was found in Hudson. And all three women were mothers with long-time drug addictions who sometimes worked as SWs to support their habits, according to investigators. The women often worked in the Maine South area of Worcester. Maine South. Investigators at the time of the discovery said the deaths may have been the work of a serial killer. Police in Worcester, Marlboro, and Hudson, along with district attorney's offices of Worcester and Middlesex counties, continue to investigate the 3 homicides. In addition to her physical similarity to Rudy, Montalvo, and Torres, Lineida Olivera was a mother with a persistent drug habit. Court records show a history of prostitution, and police said she was frequently seen in the Maine South area. So there you go. I mean, sometimes it's not the case. I mean, sometimes it's not necessarily one person doing all of these things, but Police Sergeant Faith Roche, who was in charge of the Lineida, Olivera investigation was unavailable for comment. But Hudson Police Chief Richard A. Braga said Worcester Police had notified his detectives of the case because she is missing and had a high-risk lifestyle like the 3 murder victims. So the sister didn't want to talk about her sister's life's habits. I don't blame her. She thought she was a very good mom, very kind. She has 11 kids. Wow. And all of her kids miss her. Says she was from Massachusetts, from Puerto Rico, when she was 16 and had given birth to the first child. So she had never gone away for that long, and never without checking in. So that's. So she was planning to enter rehabilitation to kick her drug addiction after the twins were born in January. So they thought she was in a treatment center where she wouldn't be allowed to call them. They grew more worried as April passed, and they reported her missing in May. So that's from the Metro West Daily News. So this is before she was found, obviously. I can get rid of that now because I don't need that. I can get rid of that. I don't need that. I got way too many windows open, so. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this up here again. Well, there she is. She's September 4th, 2007. That's when they found her. And victim 4, the one we went over, she was the one that was found in York, Maine. And this is the other one we went over. I'm going to try to do Daniela Torres next week. She was the one that was found in Hudson. Okay, so. Oops. So this is the one I kind of went over a little bit last week because I screwed up, but so that just kicks that right out of there. Nope, I wanted the other one. Okay. All right, so this was done September 25, 2007. So this is after she was found. So Marilyn Olivera doesn't believe her sister was murdered by the serial killer. Authorities may say she may be responsible for 3 unsolved murders in the Marlborough Hudson area. At her Marlborough home, Marilyn spoke of her former older sister, Lineida Olivera, who died at age 35, leaving 11 children behind. Wow. Yeah, I'd be looking into some of the father. So Marilyn thinks the same thing as someone she knew. So the death is being investigated by Worcester District Attorney's Office, which is treating it as a separate case despite the similarities between the four cases. So this one might not be connected. All of them were Hispanic, had children, and shared a past of sex worker and drug addiction. So Marilyn seems to think that she didn't call her, and that's why I think she went out with somebody she knew. Because Marilyn probably thinks that she would have called her if she was seeing somebody or going somewhere with somebody that she didn't know. So, but this is back in 2007. And they have her in the they have her in the slide that I showed you with all 5 victims. So it's and that's coming from Cold Case New England. So, and that's February 22nd. So that may have changed. So this is coming from Cold Case New England. And this is 2022, which is last year. This is Mr. Kelly as part of this, and I contacted him, and he seems to think that they're connected, and he's telling me there's tons of DNA. So I don't know what's going on with this thing. So on September 10th, 2007, Stalker, the system to apprehend lethal killers, released a profile of a man believed to have killed several women between 2002 and 2007, bringing him across central Massachusetts and southern Maine. Blue-collar worker, most likely working in construction or employed as a truck driver. Thought to be between 28 and 41. Likely drove a truck or sports utility vehicle. This man comes from a sexually and physically abusive home and carries a heavy resentment towards his mom. This is a profile. His victims pay for his shortcomings and abuse, and he is a sex addict. And enjoys engaging in his behaviors outdoors where he is most comfortable. He has an affinity for soliciting sex workers and likely has a history of criminal activity. So we got a profile of this guy here. He was presumably a peeping Tom before his escalation to murder and takes joy in animal cruelty. That's almost fundamental. He's an avid outdoorsman, a hunter of not only animals but women. He has been named the Maine South Woodsman. So they put this title on him. So yeah, they weren't publicly. I mean, it's hard to find any information on these victims whatsoever. I mean, that's even Mindy West and I found Rosalie Miller under the Mindy West thing, so I didn't even know about her until I did that. And it's a shame because these people live lives too. They're not just robots. They deserve justice, and that's what I try to do. Bring awareness to these people because there's no need for this. Absolutely, these people are just awful human beings, and they need to be in prison. Period. But it just seems how, since they arrested what's his face, he seemed to have stopped. So. Not saying they're part of a serial killer, but to me that looks pretty likely. So what I want to do now is go, and I'm trying to get some more information from Mindy West too, because I want to replay. Get rid of this music. All right, so let's go here. So this is the case I started following last fall. I knew Mindy. We went to the same grade school. We're in the same bus, lived on the same road. She was very intelligent. She was very smart. I didn't know her, like communicate a lot with her, but she was a good kid. Same age, almost exact. I think I'm maybe 3 or 4 months older than her. So this is from WMUR. I played this before, but here we go. So let's go back. And so she was last seen July 28th, in the middle of the summer. Reported missing July 30th, so 2 days later. Basically in the zone down in Manchester. And she was found October 4th, way away from where she was reported missing. And I went to Londonderry High School. Um, so this is obviously Concord Street. It's basically back then, anyways. It was crack cocaine for sure was in the forefront of the drugs, pot, and everything else. I probably had partied in this building at one time before. So she was convicted twice of sex working. So this is the other person who I found basically with the same MO, um, deep diving into the Mindy West thing. I think they are. So there's that. And that's what I was investigating here. And then, that's me. So that's what I've been doing for a few weeks, a few months. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's other victims, other people involved. So take another break, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a little piece on some heroism that happened a long time ago, a year before I was born. So I will be right back, but I'm going to put some music on first. Let's go daydreaming. Okay, so a couple nights ago, I was just bored out of my mind, and I was doing some web searching and YouTube searching, and I came across something that happened a long time ago, and I get this all the time, where you have a lot of these school shootings and stuff, and people just out of their mind, and everybody says, what's going on these days? Well, it happened back then too, and being Memorial Day weekend here coming up, I wanted to share this because this guy here, along with was and is a hero, always will be a hero, because I remember watching the Monday Night Football game. I think it was a Monday Night Football game, or was it baseball? I'm not sure. But the earthquake in California, and dead people, literally people going into these collapsed bridges, pulling people out. Even in 9/11, you had people going into the building. I mean, it's just heroes of heroes, man. It's just so I wanted to go over this here. This is the University of Texas tower shooting that happened in Austin, Texas in 1966. And I'm going to show a video in black and white because this is pretty crazy. Literally a hero. Let me shut this music off. First thing you're going to notice is the cars. The cars are absolutely wonderful. Here we go. Why don't I have sound? Let's go to this one here.
Were taken. We have prepared a menu board.
Murder in the capital city.
Especially
Here is KTBC television news editor Neil
in
Spence.
1966.
Good evening. One of history's worst mass murders occurred here in Austin
That
today.
looks like Johnny
By
Carson.
official count tonight, 49 persons were hit by gunfire. There are 16 dead and 33 injured. It started last night when a man reportedly killed his wife and his mother. That same man apparently rounded up an arsenal and supplies this morning and then went to the observation deck of the University of Texas Tower. It was then that terror rained down from the tower. Charles Ward was there and described the shooting.
There must have been a hit that last time. We hear people outside of our building in an area where we can't now look safely saying, let's help that boy. Does he need help?
I think they did a movie on this. Not sure. I'm pretty sure there was a movie done about this guy.
Help. Someone must be down.
This guy decided one day that he was going to end his life, and he was going to take a whole bunch of people with him. And
Maybe an empty carton of shells.
oops, sorry.
Ricochet bullets bouncing off the top of the head. piece of the tower falling now. And the battle goes on.
Sirens screamed for the 90 minutes that the gun battle was in progress. It was hot, past 90 degrees on the ground, probably much hotter, high atop the tower with the sun ricocheting off the limestone with the same intensity as the police bullets. Students, co-eds, crouched at the place where they could find safety. Austin police were reinforced in their gun battle by sheriff's deputies, by Texas highway patrolmen, by Texas Rangers, and some citizens who were deputized when they offered their services. But from the time the first call came in to the UT police at 11:48 a.m. until Austin police gunned down the man they said was the sniper at 1:22 p.m., the university campus resembled a battlefield. Dead people were lying on the hot sidewalks, and dozens of courageous persons risked death time and time
These
again
two
to try to
people,
save them.
this guy is still shooting, okay? And these people are running in an open area here where they can get picked off too to save these people.
One funeral director driving an ambulance was shot and critically injured trying to help. An Austin policeman lost his life. A University of Texas professor was killed. Countless students and innocent bystanders fell without knowing what hit them. A boy riding a bicycle was picked off with deadly accuracy. Time and time again, men risked their lives to try to save others, and this man shown here hauling a dead man to safety was one such man. Charles Ward talked with him after he got back.
One of those who is out of breath now after running out onto the mall rescuing those who've been shot is Brian Ellison of Austin, who's been in Vietnam and has been back for 2 years. Brian, how many have you gone out to rescue?
Today, too.
This is all film, so film had a hard time with darkness.
What did you have to do?
Run hard and keep low.
Did you have any trouble getting them up, or did any shots come close to you while you were out there?
No shots came close to me. Just the last one. He was dead. He was dead weight. He was a little hard picked up. Too limp. Not like someone who's knocked out.
How many have you seen that are dead today?
Just one. I hope not anymore.
But there were more, many more, and the full impact of today's tragedy still has not been felt because the magnitude of the crime is practically impossible to comprehend. Charles J. Whitman, a 25-year-old Marine veteran who earned a sharpshooter rating while on active duty. He was identified by police as the sniper. He was shot down on the observation deck by 2 city policemen. The policemen were aided by an Austin man, Alan Crum. The story of how they ended the 90 minutes of terror was told this afternoon at a news conference held by Austin Police Chief Bob Miles. Jack Bowserson was there.
When Police Chief Bob Miles held his news conference at 3 o'clock this afternoon, he described the events in which the sniper met his death. Patrolman Romero Martinez worked his way into the building where he found Alan Crum, an assistant manager of the university co-op, and they were armed with a rifle. Martinez deputized Crum, and they took the elevator to the 26th floor along with another officer. Martinez and Crum then crept out on the walkway on the opposite corner from where Whitman was stationed. Chief Miles had a diagram prepared to illustrate what happened then.
Is drawing a diagram here that will show you roughly, which is north now, Bill?
This is north.
Okay.
South, east, west. Martinez came out here and crawled around at this point.
That's the roof over there.
This is the,
That's the other side.
looking down on top of the thing. Up here is the bell. This is the wall around the inner part of the building here. The bell is above here. Martinez came out and went around the east side crawling. Crum came out and went west this way. And as the subject was sitting here leaning back this way with his gun pointing this direction. As Martinez rounded this corner here, he saw him with his gun in this direction. He knew Mr. Crum was coming this way, and he had to come around the corner at the same time. Martinez fired from here, from this point here.
As he swung the rifle toward him, he fired.
As he saw him leveling the rifle, pointing the rifle this direction, and knowing that Mr. Crum was here.
He was pointing the rifle at Crum and Martinez
Yes.
fired.
And Martinez came around this way.
So Martinez fired, and the reign of terror came to an end. The rifle that Whitman was aiming was a military surplus carbine, one of an arsenal of 7 firearms that were found in a footlocker that Whitman had hauled up with him. Besides the carbine, there was a 6mm Remington Magnum equipped with a 4-power scope sight, a 35 caliber pump rifle, plus a 12-gauge sawed-off shotgun, 2 handguns, a .357 Magnum and a 9mm Luger, and another gun that was later discovered on Whitman's body. There were other supplies and weapons in the footlocker: a hammer, a hatchet, 2 hunting knives, one a large bowie knife with a bone handle, gasoline, rags, a large supply of nylon cord, cans of pork and beans, a loaf of bread, a large can of water, and lots more ammunition. There was also a transistor radio. When we saw it at the station, the dial was not tuned to any station, but police speculated that Whitman may have been tuned in to a play-by-play report of the consternation he was causing as he perched there for an hour and a half this afternoon. The man here beside me is Alan Crum. He was deputized to go up on the tower with the 2 policemen who ended the gun battle. Mr. Crum, could you tell us how you happened to be in the tower building in the first place?
Well, I became involved in this when I looked out of the co-op windows and saw a boy shot across the street. I went across the street to investigate because I thought it was a small fight. And as I stepped out the door, I heard the sound of shots. And Officer Martinez and myself and Officer Day started up the staircase where we worked our way up to the next floor, and we began to search the offices up there. Well, we found 3 more people. And one of these gentlemen, his family was in the corridor, and they had all been shot.
Now, the people on the 26th floor were not hurt, but the people...
No, sir. The next half flight of stairs up was where this man had shot them all in the corridor.
When did you finally locate Whitman?
It was quite a few minutes because we worked our way up. We thought perhaps he might be in this corridor, and we didn't know the building. We had to work rather cautiously. We worked our way up to the end of the corridor where a set of stairs went to the left, and I covered with the rifle for Martinez and Officer Day while they got the boy that was still alive out of the line of fire, because he told us the man was outside and couldn't see us. Mm-hmm. While Officer Day was taking care of the wounded boy, as far as I know, Officer Martinez and we took the stairs. Mm-hmm. And we got to the top of the stairs, and this man had barricaded the staircase with a desk and a chair and a waste can, and we figured he was either in there or out on the walk-around left.
All right, I'm going to pause this one here, but I want to show this one here because this is the anniversary here.
It's a summer day in Austin as students at the University of Texas stroll the campus. A day much like the one 50 years ago, long before.
So this was done 6 years ago. So, but.
Or anyone knew the term mass shooting.
This is where you were lying. Yeah.
And it's the day and the spot Claire Wilson James will never forget.
So as you lay here, you can see the tower.
Oh, yeah.
Right over you.
That day was August 1st, 1966. Walter Cronkite anchored a special CBS News report.
A deranged engineering student at the University of Texas climbed to an Austin landmark at noon today.
A man perched atop the University of Texas clock tower began firing on the people below.
Victims were cut down on the west and south sides of the campus as the sniper zeroed in on his targets with unerring accuracy.
So you can imagine, okay, in 1966, you don't have any cell phones, no computers. You probably maybe don't even have a dial phone. I mean, this is pre-technology. Just walking around a campus, and then some crazy guy, lunatic, just starts shooting people. I mean, what do you do? I mean,
shot at random for more than 90 minutes. Claire, an 18-year-old student, 8 months pregnant, was walking on campus with her boyfriend, Tom Ekman. At first, she didn't know what was happening.
So you never heard the shot? No, I never heard a shot. I just felt like it's a big jolt, and then I started falling.
As she fell to the pavement, her boyfriend Tom turned to ask her what was wrong. The next thing she knew, he was lying dead next to her, and she couldn't move.
You thought you were dead.
I thought I was going to die. Yeah.
The killer was 25-year-old Charles Joseph Whitman, a former Marine sharpshooter. Unknown to anyone, he had already killed his wife and mother in their homes before heading to the tower's 28th floor observation deck with multiple guns. It was the first school mass shooting in modern U.S. history.
He affected so many lives in that one day.
This guy here is the hero, and along with two other people. I mean, this guy here.
Retired Texas Ranger Ray Martinez was a young officer with the
Texas Ranger
Police Department at the time. Arriving on campus, he couldn't believe what he saw.
When I got out of the car, I could hear all of this shooting going on. It was all like a war.
Back then, there was no such thing as rapid response teams. It was left to Martinez and a civilian, followed by a fellow officer, Houston McCoy, to climb to the top of the tower to face off against the sniper and his arsenal.
I consider myself to be pretty brave. Okay. Maybe not so much now because I'm older, but even back when I was younger, I don't know if I'm going out here. I just don't. I don't know. Nerves of steel, literally, with some guy shooting out here, and you're going to go up into this, and then, I don't know.
As Martinez described it at the time,
when he was swinging it, he didn't have it leveled at me. He was trying to bring it down, and I just kept firing.
And I could tell by impact, that I hit him. And I kept advancing, shooting. McCoy shot and hit him, and he started going down.
the shooter was dead. He killed 16 people that day and injured dozens more. The mass shooting brought fundamental changes to police departments and led to the creation of SWAT teams used around the country. For decades at UT, the only reminder of that terrible day could be found on this rock. Keith Maitland, who went to school there, wondered why he never heard more.
This is a story I think that anybody who grew up here has heard a little bit about. But if you want to get past just that little bit, there isn't really a lot out there to kind of fill in the blanks.
So he made a documentary called Tower.
We can see the movement under the clock on the south side of the University of Texas Tower.
It uses animation and archival footage to tell the story of that day.
The shot that hit me bypassed me and ripped straight off the building. Everybody was in the strange panic.
Then what happened?
And everybody ran.
What I wanted to understand is, what was it like to live through something like this, and how would it impact you? How does it impact a community?
The worst days of your lives are...
In the process, he wound up reconnecting people who, as it turned out, had not seen each other since that day 50 years ago. People like Claire Wilson James.
Hi, Claire.
Hello, baby.
And Artley Snuff. Snuff was just a teenager at the time. That's him on the right in the dark shirt, running out in full view of the sniper to pick Claire up and carry her some 100 yards down the steps to safety, something he says he simply felt he had to do.
Because she was shot. And she was obviously pregnant. It was the most horrific day of my life.
To this day?
Oh, gosh, yes. I didn't go to war. That was my war.
Because why?
The blood, the death, the horror, the loss of innocence.
I think what I probably learned the most is that you have to deal with trauma. And for people who didn't give themselves an opportunity or weren't given an opportunity, it really sits with them.
To literally go out there in full view of the person up there shooting, to run out there and get somebody who you don't even know if they're alive or dead, to go out there and literally risk your life. I don't know, man.
And kind of eats away at them over the course of the rest of their lives.
And he had
Even people you might not expect, like Ray Martinez, who, before he was a police officer, was a combat medic. He told us on his way to the tower to stop the sniper that day, he was forced to run past Claire as she lay bleeding on the quad without stopping to help her.
That day, I was thinking like a medic, but I was also thinking like a policeman. I saw her wounded, and I felt like it was my duty to grab her and take her out of there.
In the movie version of this, you're the guy that shoots the sniper and saves the day. And you're telling me that even you are racked by guilt?
Well, if you're a human being and you got feelings for people, yes.
The university is now taking steps to remember those lost. This past week, a new, larger memorial was dedicated, listing the names of those killed, including Claire Wilson James's boyfriend and also her unborn baby.
That sucks.
And in the shadow of the tower, there is now friendship and healing for survivors. And from Claire, something else.
And you forgive him.
Oh, yeah. How could God's forgiven me everything I've done, and he's kept me from being that kind of person, that decided to go that way. I mean, how could I not forgive him? I mean, he was just a really mixed up kid.
All right, so that's that. This is the one I wanted to watch because this
Okay.
This is the
I
reenactment.
parked my car behind St. Austin's Catholic Church over here. I ran through the church, and then I came onto Guadalupe Street. I used this building here as shelter. I stayed on the other side, and then on this building, I came through the inside of the building and came in this direction. I stood right here.
The strange thing about it is this guy goes through this whole entire thing like he's a police officer and almost robotic. Just amazing.
I looked up there to see what was going on. I could see the dead and the wounded people around in the area. And right around here was a spot of blood. And I didn't know at the time that this is where Billy Speed had gotten shot. He got shot right through here. The tree, of course, it was not as big back then. You're talking about almost 50 years of growth. But he was open, and it was one hell of a shot to come here and hit him in the chest. And this is where he fell down. Okay, I came up, and I looked, and I could see the woman. There was a pregnant woman right there. She was squirming because he was extremely hot. She was in pain. And of course, there were other people, and I could see somebody over there, about the young ladies walking You could see it at the time. The hedges were not so high, and I could see somebody laying out there. So there were bodies around out here. So here is where I made the decision that I wanted to get inside of the tower. And I ran up the stairs, and I ran to where those trash cans are, and then I cut to the left. There.
Okay.
All right.
This is absolutely amazing heroism right here.
Now, you had said that you zigzagged.
Yes, I ran as fast as I could.
Now, when did you decide to start running? I mean, were you waiting until you heard shots somewhere
No,
else? or-
immediately when I decided to run, I started running when I came up the steps. I didn't hesitate.
Okay.
Now, shooting was going on. I don't know if it was people shooting at him or he was shooting back down, because he was just like rolling thunder. It echoed back and forth. It would bounce from the buildings. And so you really didn't know if he was incoming or ingoing, you know. But anyway, I just don't know if he even saw me or if he even shot at me. I don't know. All I know is I just ran as fast as I could, zigzagging until I got to that wall. And then I used that wall to walk around.
Okay. And hotter than today.
That is right.
And you don't know if he's seen or not.
What kind of training, kicked in here at this point? You were in the Army, right?
Yeah. Oh, I learned how to run in the Army. Run fast. But see, once I got to this wall, I felt comfortable because he could not shoot me from there. I went along the wall. Of course, I stayed right against it, going around. Don't know if it, yeah, just straight up.
And you had been here at least once before, is that correct?
Yep.
So you kind of knew the building situation and where to get in.
Yes.
Okay. So you went through the west door. You went through this door here.
Right.
Okay.
People like this, man, make you want to get up every day.
Wasn't air conditioned back then, wasn't it?
Not that I recall. Okay, once I was inside, I went over here to the right and went up and sat on the right. Went upstairs, and I remember I ran across Jerry Day around right here. And Jerry Day, the windows were open. I can remember something like that, and he was pointing his gun up. You know, he was looking out of this. And
Are you going to go all the way up?
now let me see. Yeah, here's where. Yeah, he was looking and pointing his gun up over there. That's right.
And it was from here yet?
No, I mean, it was just Jerry Day. Now, it was around, right up here at this landing, that I ran across a campus security officer, and he had a radio, and I tried to use his radio to call the police department, say I was here, and also to ask
A radio, not a phone, a radio.
for an armored truck to get the wounded where I had come by. we couldn't communicate with the radio, so I gave it back to him. There was a black dial phone there. I dialed it, the first number I dialed, and he got a busy signal right away. I could not get through to the police department. So I just hung up, and then I came back down and went towards the elevator. Jerry Day, like I said, I saw him the last time here. I don't know where he went because, like I said, I went over there and I used the phone, tried to use the phone. Later on in 1960, when I came back from the Army and I joined the Austin Police Department, the first day that we were recruits, they took us to the DPS to show us DPS and how they function and how we could use them. And then they brought us up here to look at, get a good view of the whole city. And so I knew where this elevator was.
Oh, yeah.
When I was on the elevator, of course, you could still hear all the shooting going on. It was kind of muffled a little bit, but you could still hear all the shooting going on. I thought they were different. It was kind of all the numbers were, this has been remodeled, I guess, because you had the numbers in a sequence that I was watching them flicker by.
Just one guy.
What were you thinking in this moment?
I was praying.
Yeah.
Then when the door opened, I was facing a rifle and a pistol. It was Jerry Day and Ellen Crum. They were facing me here with the weapons. I had my gun out because I didn't know what to expect. And it was Jerry Day and Ellen Crum. They were holding these weapons out. But right around here was a small table. And Doug Cowan from DPS Intelligence. But I knew Doug Cowan, and there was another black phone there, dial phone, and he kept dialing and dialing. Also, there was another gentleman. He had a piece of paper, and he was trying to draw a diagram of upstairs. I mean, what's up there. And
how long have you been keeping up here by the time you got
about an hour at least. I went out, and Jerry Day followed me. And we together, we started checking offices to see if anybody was there. All the doors were open. We looked inside and nobody was there except one. And when I tried to open it, force it open, somebody said, "Who is it?" And I said, "Police." And they said, "Just a second." And they started unstacking furniture that they had piled up against the wall, the door. They took all the furniture down. And then they came out and they ran to the elevators and they went down. But there was one man, and he was later identified as Mr. Gabor. He had a pair of white women's shoes, and they were bloody. And he says, "That SOB has killed my whole family." He said, "Let me have your gun and I'll go kill him." And I said, "No, sir." I said, "We'll take care of the problem for you." And then he started trying to get my gun. I had to wrestle with him. And Jerry Day and I wrestled him over from back over there, over here, till we got the elevator. Then when we had an elevator, I shoved Jerry and Mr. Gabor in there. And they all pushed the Crum, Alan Crum, who I didn't know who he was. I thought he was from some law enforcement agency. He had a rifle. And so I stepped over in this direction because I saw bloody footprints. And I started going up to the stairs, and then I started going up. That's when Alan Crum says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going up to look for the shooter." And he says, "Friend, you're not going by yourself." He says, "I'm going with you. We'll cover one another." I said, "Well, come on." I didn't know who he was. I thought I had another law enforcement officer with me. So we went this way. Now, these things have changed. And of course, I had my pistol and Alan had his rifle. He was right behind, and we proceeded on slowly, because you have to look around here. And so anyway, we go up. And all this time, there's shooting going on. You can hear it. You can hear the rumbling. There was a little boy, and then his aunt was dead. And then the mother, Miss Gabor, she was drowning in her own blood. He had to turn her over, and I got blood all over my shirt. And then the older boy was against the wall over there, and he said, he's outside. So after we turned Miss Gabor over, Crum and I went up and got the young man and pulled him back because we still had to go up the stairs.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Just absolutely amazing.
Okay. Here it was open. It was open there because there was a desk barricading the steps and so when we got there, that's when Alan Crum said, he said, are we playing for keeps? And I said, you damn right we are. And he says, well, I guess you better deputize me. And asked me, and that's when I realized that he was not law enforcement. And asked me, so I said, consider yourself deputized. And then we proceeded up and we pushed that desk around. And, this has been changed. That door was not there because we pushed that desk around. And trying to see where the phone was. There was a phone on the wall somewhere. And it got ripped out. I think the couch was over here where she had been drugged and put behind the couch and she was dying. At that time, of course, we could see out this window. I looked out this window. I could not see anything except some debris, some bullet casings and other debris there. Couldn't see anything. That was from the dolly. It was propped against. And all the time, like I said, shooting was going on. You could hear it. It was very loud. And so I pushed that dolly, and it went clanging finally. Clang, clang, clang. Opened the door, and I had hesitated for a little while because I didn't know if he had heard the clanging, and he might be coming around. But like I said, there was a lot of fire coming. Anyway, I was down, and when I opened the door, of course, I wasn't standing up because you could hear it. And looked in that direction, and I did not see the guy. So I got Alan Crum to come out here and point his rifle in that direction. I said, I'm going to look around, and I came over here, and I looked in that direction. And I looked, and I could not see him there. So I told Crum.
You came back?
Yeah. Okay. Told Crum, I said, you stay here and aim that rifle. If he comes around that corner, shoot him. Because I'm going to go around and look for him. I said, okay. Yeah, I mean, I was like this, you know, because the thing of it is, there were bullets hitting up here, and then bam, you know, it would hit, and dust would come out, rain down on it. There, and here you can see here, you can see there. When I first got out on that side, I mean, at the door, I could tell that once in a while there were some bullets coming into the drains. But when people started shooting back at him, then that's when he had to revert to the rain spouts and shoot from the rain spouts. So once the people out there noticed that he was shooting from the drains, they started putting rounds into the spouts. I was about right here when I just happened to turn around and I saw McCoy had come out, and he was there, you know, some distance, and of course he was against the wall over here, and he was pretty tall, so I motioned for him, you know, to get down, and he didn't understand what I was telling him to do, but a couple of rounds hit up there, and he understood then, and he started hunkering down. Okay, when I got to this position, of course, I couldn't see all the way. I had to walk and using the cover of this overlay or whatever you want to call it that supports the clock. When I got here, and I looked around, I saw the sniper right there with the light. He was aiming an M1 carbine. He had it propped like on the knee. He was going to shoot somebody. I was afraid that Alan Crum had left his position and gone on a rifle that he had gotten from DPS there, and he was fiddling with it, and it went off, and it hit the wall over there, which drew the attention of Whitman. And if that hadn't happened, he would probably been aiming his damn carbine at me when I came around the corner or moved from here, and I would have been dead duck. When I saw him, I opened fire. And I want to point out, see, from back there you can see that I had a good clean shot at him here without any obstructions. Now there was those big old lights here, like that. But he was sitting here, and he was aiming that rifle when I know I hit him because he was aiming like that. I know I hit him somewhere in here because I shot his body mass. And I could tell that I had hit him because he went up, he reacted, and then he tried to bring that carbine around, and I kept advancing on him, shooting at him. And as I advanced, of course, I was doing the duck walk, which was like this, you know, and moving forward and hollering at McCoy to shoot. McCoy must have shot while I was shooting because I didn't hear the first shot. But when he shot the second time, I could see that he hit him and kind of spun him around. And like I said, he was trying to bring the carbine down. So when he hit him, you know, kind of spun him around to the right. And he started going down. And by that time, my gun was empty. I dropped my gun, reached back and got the shotgun from him. And I rushed him because he still had that damn carbine in his hand. And to me, there was still some body movement. And I just wanted to make sure. I came and I shot him one more time. And if he was dead, fine. But I was going to make sure.
What a hero. This guy, man. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought twice either. I mean, your life or his, other lives are being ruthlessly taken for some psychotic person. So that's the hero right there. Just wanted to bring that up tonight. Long time ago. So there's that. Oh, I don't want to do that. So there's that. And I was going to do a weekend review, but I've been here 115 minutes, so I don't know. Let's see if I can find something really quick. Okay, I guess I can play this. This is the news about Brian Koberger's parents testifying. So let's go here. This is from Fox News. So let's do this.
We want to get into some updates in the Brian Koberger saga that we have followed very, very closely, really from the very beginning, because there's this new twist, there's a new angle in this having to do with his parents. But Koberger, he was in a courtroom in Idaho this week, the judge entering a not guilty plea on his behalf after Koberger stood silent beside his team of lawyers. But now Koberger's parents being called to testify in front of a Pennsylvania grand jury. Remember, that's where they're from. In the case of a missing woman, her name, Dana Smither. For more on why his parents are testifying in this specific case, we want to bring...
So this is Brian Koberger. He's being accused of the Idaho 4 murder victims. And the entire case is under a gag order. So there's a new spin in this, something about something that happened in Pennsylvania. So I'll let the video play out.
Into the conversation, legal expert and friend of the program, Jacqueline Goodman. She joins us now. Jacqueline, good to see you. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday.
When I first started covering this case, and even before I knew it was Brian who was going to be accused of it, I thought that maybe he might have done this before, and there's still a possibility, but it's just, I don't know, another conspiracy theory, but who knows?
Night. You were following this today. I think a lot of people who have followed this case very, very closely are asking themselves, what's going on with this other entirely separate case of this missing woman, Dana Smither, and what do they potentially think Brian Koberger could have had to do with it?
Well, it's interesting. The police department has said that they have zero evidence. They didn't even qualify that statement. They said they have zero evidence linking that case to Brian Koberger. And yet you have a grand jury who is asking to hear testimony from his parents in connection with that case. And so, we're left to speculate because the grand jury connects together in secret, and we don't get to know what it is that they're thinking, and we can only speculate by virtue of the witnesses that are called. So the fact that his parents are being called in connection with that case on what looks like a murder that occurred about 30 miles away from the Koberger home is certainly subject to speculation.
Jacqueline, when you get a subpoena like the parents did, they tried to fight it. It was unsuccessful. Did they have any grounds to not comply with the subpoena in this? Can you just say, you know what? I'm not going to comply with this. We have no business with this. What are you even talking about? Was that on the table here?
They can't not comply. They'd be found in contempt. Even a suspect doesn't have a right not to appear before a grand jury, and you've seen that litigated and sometimes very complex political questions. So no, they didn't have a right not to appear before the grand jury and to testify truthfully. And they don't really even have a Fifth Amendment or other kind of privilege not to answer certain questions. They don't have a right to have counsel in the grand jury. And so it's really an opportunity, I think, for the prosecution to gain information about that case if they're so inclined, and it appears that they are.
So I want to put up this statement that we made here from the police department there in Pennsylvania looking into this, the Stroudsburg Police Department saying this. They're aware of the many currently reported news articles in which various media outlets have reported connections between Dana Smithers' missing person investigation and the Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger. The SARPD has no evidence, all caps, that Dana Smithers' disappearance is in any way, all caps, tied to Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger, to what you were alluding to right off the top there. So you're saying essentially that the Kohberger parents...
So maybe what I'll do next, I'm going to be off Sunday night, so maybe I'll do an investigation into this investigation too. Might be
They could
something.
have information, but it has nothing to do with what Brian Kohberger allegedly did there in Moscow, Idaho.
Well, I mean, I think what's more important is that they're saying at this time they have no evidence, but the parents' testimony is not part of that calculation. And so it's possible that the parents' testimony before the grand jury changes that calculus and they may take a different tack. I think it's really an evidence gathering, a discovery process.
It is kind of strange how they want his parents to testify in front of a grand jury, but they may be reaching at this point. Who knows?
The prosecution to have the parents come and testify at this grand jury. It's really it's a remarkable opportunity, really, for the prosecution to gain information and to sort of.
So these are the 4 victims that he is being accused of. They were unalived in Moscow, Idaho, and he's the prime suspect.
Force people who otherwise may feel like they would rather not speak to law enforcement, force them to speak on the record on a case that they're investigating. And so we'll see.
I kind of can't stand when they keep running the same feeds over and over, and we've seen this.
Whether or not there's developments in that cold case.
Yeah, I want to kind of go back to Idaho now and kind of do the flip side, because do you think prosecutors, now that this is going on there in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, do you think they can bring this up in his trial that's coming up in October? Hey, your parents, they were asked questions of in this missing woman's disappearance. We're going to talk about this in Brian Kohberger's trial. He's stand accused of murdering those 4 University of Idaho
I just don't think that'll be
students.
admissible
Could that
unless
be in
there's
the
a
mix
connection.
here?
You know, probably not. There's a general rule that evidence of prior misconduct is not admissible to prove conduct in conformity with this character trait, if you will, for criminal behavior generally, to prove conduct in conformity with that trait in another instance. So in the Idaho case with the 4 alleged victims, Brian Kohberger is probably not going to have, at least as far as we can tell at this time, any questions or the witnesses on the defense are not going to have to deal with any implications based on what we know so far on this other cold case. Now that could change, of course, because it seems to be in the infancy of the investigation. But so far, no. There are exceptions to that general rule that keeps out that kind of called character evidence, which are things like identity, for example. If they want to prove motive, identity, modus operandi, there are many, many exceptions to the general rule. And so if we can show that a crime was committed in largely the same way, that might show some, for example, if there's sort of a mark of Zorro on the body in each of the instances, that might identify him to the case in chief. And so it really depends on the facts of the case and how they play out. But generally speaking, so far, no, just too speculative, too different.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that. I just wanted to bring that up. Like I said, I'm off Sunday night, so I'll probably do another live on Sunday night because of Memorial Day. So, but I just wanted to go over the Maura Murray stuff, the accident report, more on the Maine South murders. Maine South Woodsman cases, and then of course My favorite was the hero guy there from 1966, because those people are just not born every day. They're just not. So anyways, thanks for joining. If anybody's going to watch this or like this, please like and subscribe. If not, then that's fine too. Like I said, I'll probably be back Sunday night, later at night, because I'm up. I work well into evening, so my lives are not going to be early in the day, that's for sure. So thanks everybody for joining, and have a good Memorial Day weekend. And thank you very much.